After all of these years of being told that we're crazy, being told that we're wrong, being told that it's all made up, and that what President Trump is doing right now is somehow weaponizing this and controlling that, we now have proof, testify under oath by the biggest social media platforms in the world, YouTube, Meta, aka Facebook, and now Google. You may or may not be aware, but Google testified to Congress that they were pressured by the Biden administration to censor what they deemed misinformation when it came to the pandemic, when it came to the jabs, and also when it came to the elections. Now, in this video, you know what I like to do? I don't like to just come and talk about it. I'm going to bring you proof. So you're going to hear directly from Google engineers, Google execs themselves, some who were being filmed without even knowing that they were being filmed, where they were more willing to really air out what's going on. And then I'm going to follow it up with Fox News report with Dr. Jonathan Turley, who's a professor at George Washington, who's like a political historian, who really breaks down what happened in this Google case and how many lives were ruined. Imagine this, y'all. Imagine if through the Google searches and things like that, Trump would have lost the election, that it would have fully worked. And that Kamala Harris, think about the destruction that could have came from them. Forget what would have came. What you're going to see is proof of how Joe Biden even got in there in 2020. They manipulated and social engineered us in 2020. That's how Joe Biden got elected. So without further ado, I'll get back to this article, which, as you see, it says, Google says Biden admin pressured company to remove content. Now, in this very first clip, this here is an actual current Google engineer. And we're going to hear directly from this man as he explains to us exactly.
My name's Greg Coppola. I'm a senior.
He's going to explain to us exactly what's going on. Check this out.
My name's Greg Coppola. I'm a senior software engineer. I work on artificial intelligence and the Google Assistant. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm very concerned to see big tech and the big media merge basically with a political party, with the Democrat Party. I have a PhD. I have 5 years of experience at Google, and I just know how algorithms are. They don't write themselves. We write them to do what we want them to do. I look at search, and I look at Google News, and I see what it's doing, and I see Google executives go to Congress and say that it's not manipulated, it's not political, and I'm just so sure that's not true. I think as the election started to ramp up, the angle that the Democrats and the media took was that anyone who liked Donald Trump was a racist, even a Nazi, and that got picked up everywhere. Well, I think we're just at a really, important point in human history. I think for a while we had tech that was politically neutral. Now we have tech that really, first of all, is taking sides in a political contest, which I think, anytime you have big corporate power merging with political parties, it can be dangerous. And I think more generally, we have to just decide now that we kind of are seeing tech use its power to manipulate people. It's a time to decide, do we run the technology? Does the technology run us? I really don't buy the idea that big tech is politically neutral, and I think we need to start incorporating that into whatever strategy we use to have a democracy going forward. Are we going to continue to have elections that mean anything? Are we going to continue to think for ourselves, or are we going to just let the biggest tech companies decide who wins?
Now, you heard it directly from a Google engineer, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. These two gentlemen are also techs and engineers from Google who did not know that they were being recorded. Listen to what they had to say. It is mind-blowing, and just how much corruption was going on, and they knew it, and they didn't even like it, but they had to choose between getting their paycheck and doing what they felt was morally and ethically right. And so the next time somebody tries to act like, oh, the Trump administration is doing this, and you notice people want to go deaf, dumb, and blind when it comes to the Biden administration. It's almost as if they don't even want to talk about those 4 years and how he even got into office. And the reason why this is important, because every time you get up to do a search, when you were looking for information during the pandemic about whether you should take hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, or the jab, it was steering you towards negative things about the two products that had minimal, if any, side effects, and was steering you to the one that we now know has the biggest issues. When it came to the elections, anybody that said, oh, the election was rigged was getting blackballed, delisted, censored, while everything was coming up saying, oh, no, it wasn't. Everything was perfectly fine. Trump was just tripping, even though we saw people pulling suitcases under tables. We see videos of people that were dumping and loading in those drop boxes, but they told us, don't believe your lying eyes. But check out these two engineers from Google. And please check this out. It's important that if yourself, your family members, your children are using these search engines, which they are, whether it be Facebook, aka Meta, YouTube, Google, they were all being manipulated. And so the information that we wanted, that we needed to be able to judge for ourselves was being removed, and they were allowing big tech to think for people. That's how the social engineering came. That's how we weren't talking about trans problems 10 years ago. How does something like that, where men want to be women, people want children's bodies to be mutilated, this wasn't a thing 7 or even 8 years ago. During Trump's first term, this wasn't a thing. How does it happen so fast? Social engineering using the platforms. But check this out.
You go to search and you type in like Donald Trump, no, and it's like all negative. And when you type in Joe Biden, it's all positive. Because it's skewed by the owners or the drivers of the operator. It's skewed by the owners and drivers of the other. Like, so if I say, hey, it's not $2 billion, feed the data set of whenever Joe Biden is searched, you get these results. It seems like they favor the Democrats. I mean, because we're in America. If Trump wins, there will be riots. If the left wins, there will be extent.
This guy, Ritesh Lakar, a technical program manager at Google, is telling our journalists the truth about the company he has worked at for years. With the presidential election just days away, he is calling out his own friends in big tech.
If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash app or a super chat. You hitting that like button, that helps enough. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed or subscribing now, hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube is struggling with getting notifications out, but when you hit notifications and select all, YouTube will make sure that you get notified the next time I upload new videos.
I disagree with corporations playing God and taking away freedom of speech of both sides, basically. So I'm like, you're playing selective God. Like, if it was fraud, it doesn't matter, but for Trump, Melania Trump, it matters. And on the other side, Trump says something, misinformation, you're going to delete that because it's illegal under whatever pretext. And if a Democratic leader says that, then you're going to leave it like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're not following one way or the other. You're just plain and simple trying to play that. When Trump won the first time, people were crying in the corridors of Google. There were protests, there were marches, there were like, I guess, group therapy sessions for employees.
Wow.
Yeah. Organized by HR. I can't keep doing this. Go and teach Chinese people how to do American jobs and come back and get surveilled on the way. And then
Were you doing that for Google?
Google, Fitbit, these two companies primarily. Morally and ethically, I disagree. And I guess that's one of the reasons I feel suffocated. I feel suffocated at Google.
If you're an insider at a big tech company and you want to expose the truth,
Wow. So that was an engineer telling you firsthand what was going on. There were therapy sessions. There was all of this going on. And he knew it firsthand. He was involved. And so just now, these folks are being called out to Congress. So remember, when you're impatient with President Trump and you just wanted to see people start that up, understand something. Joe Biden got over 200 federal judges put into court. And a lot of these prosecutors, they have people that they know, affiliations, associations, and Trump's term is 4 years. And so when these people are coming in and they want to bring cases, A, they need cooperation. B, they have to bring the case. They only going to bring the case if they know that it's so airtight that they can't lose. Because if there's any wiggle room, we know that the lamestream media and we know that those Democrat activists are going to do everything they can to let a Letitia James off the hook, to let a Jack Smith off the hook. So when you're wanting them to just wrangle people and throw them up, the worst thing that can happen is they attempt to bring somebody up on charges and it falls flat. Because they will use that to manipulate the public and say, see, there's no there there. They're bringing these witch hunts and yada, yada. And we know how quick people will be looking to jump and turn against the president. So they're taking their time. Remember, he's got 4 years. It's only been 9 months. Now, what you see right here in front of you is the actual document to the Honorable Jim Jordan, September 23rd, 2025. This was yesterday. And I'm going to go right down here to the Biden administration and alphabet. We're going to go to line number 8. Okay. And I'm going to read it. Senior Biden administration officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet, who's the parent company of Google, and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the COVID-19 pandemic that did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden administration officials continued to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. As online platforms, including Alphabet, grapple with these decisions, the administration officials, including President Biden himself, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concern regarding misinformation. It's unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden administration, attempts to dictate how the company moderates content, and the company has consistently fought against those efforts on First Amendment ground. So not only was it the Biden officials, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Chapter. And here's why. When my mom hit 65 years old, I watched her get bombarded with mailers, cold calls, and all these confusing ads about Medicare. And every single company pretended like they wanted to help her, but really they were just trying to sell her stuff. It seemed like the game was rigged and she was not supposed to win at all. And that's why I'm so excited to share information about Chapter with all of you. Now, who Chapter is? Chapter is a free Medicare advisory service that compares Medicare plans available, and they give you real, unbiased guidance. Chapter is completely independent and always puts customers first. As a matter of fact, at Chapter, the agents are salaried employees, so you don't have any fear or concerns of them trying to work to get commission of some kind. Their whole focus is all about making sure that their customers, the seniors, get the right Medicare supplement plan. And it's clear that they're making a real difference in the lives of seniors. So if you want real, unbiased help with Medicare, give Chapter a call at 402-527-1253. You'll talk to a real person who will help you figure out exactly which plan is right for you. Now, Chapter is totally free and has saved the average senior $1,000 a year. So I'm going to put the number here on the screen for you to be able to contact, or if you visit the website, go to askchapter.org/realpolitics. Biden himself was reaching out to these companies, and that's why you have to applaud Elon Musk, whether you agree with him or don't agree. Imagine if he wouldn't have bought X, formerly Twitter, from Jack Dorsey, because Jack Dorsey fell right in line with the leftists, and he tries to act like he's so in tune with the people. No, dude, you're a Democrat shield just like everybody else that tries to dress down like you're a common man to hide the fact that you're a bazillionaire and you can't relate to the common person, or else you wouldn't have allowed what happened to happen. People were censored. People lost their income. People that made their money off of their reputations online were blacklisted, blasted, channels demonetized on all the platforms. People's lives were ruined by these folks. And now it's just oh, my bad. You know, you caught us. Now, let's check out this story here with Dr. Turley and Fox, where they really go deep in detail about it. Check this out.
YouTube's policies. How you do that, huh? Jonathan Turley here, Professor. Good morning to you. I know you've written about this when it comes to Meta. Now you get a chance to write about this when it comes to YouTube and Google. Here's what I think. I mean, my sense is when it came to a national crisis and when it came to free speech, we failed.
We most certainly did, Bill. And I write about this in The Indispensable Right, that you had this coordination between the government, corporations, academia, even the media, to censor people with opposing views. And it came at a great cost, not just to free speech. But in COVID, we never had the debate that other countries had. Many of our allies did not shut down their schools, and they have not experienced the psychological and developmental problems that we have experienced. And that's because platforms like Google and YouTube and Facebook, these scientists were barred, they were banned, they were blacklisted. You know, many of the signatories of the Great Barrington Declaration, which were scientists that raised opposing views, were at a speech of mine at the University of Chicago over a year ago, and they have been vindicated in many respects on the stuff that they wanted to get out to the public, but were prevented from doing so. But it's also important to remember that, you know, I testified repeatedly in Congress, and before the release of the Twitter files, Democratic members really mocked us and said, "Oh, you've no evidence of coordination. This is all speculation." It wasn't at that time, but the Twitter files and later the Facebook files showed that coordination. And this is a vindication for those scientists and many others who have been in this fight against Congress to try to get this information out, to show the public how extensive the censorship was.
I mean, big tech, free speech, censorship, government control, it's all right there for a guy like you. Here's what the letter said, okay? The administration's officials, including President Biden, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. So let's go back to January. Mark Zuckerberg with Joe Rogan, all right, talking about Meta, talking about this exact same issue.
Basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. It just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous.
So I sent some pushback there, but I don't know where this all landed. Because it seems to me that Silicon Valley was listening to the government in charge at that time.
Well, it was. There was extensive censorship, not just on COVID issues, but other issues. Even jokes were being censored at the demand of the Biden administration officials. officials.
I don't know if y'all remember or if you know this. Do you know that during 2020, during the pandemic and 2020 run around the world, there were uprisings where people were going crazy because they did not agree with any lockdowns or any of that. Do you know that our search engines and social media were not allowing that to be shown? If you had a VPN, which is a virtual private network, you were able to see and access things. I've had that for years. And that protects your IP address and it gives you access to servers in different countries. But they were blocking it. There were uprisings, the whole 5G towers. They were building 5G towers all around the country and in different places around the world while people were on the lockdown. What was the deal with that? Why did they keep that so secluded and didn't let that out? There was so much information. Remember, they roasted Joe Rogan over saying he took ivermectin. They said, oh, that's for horses. When I myself had ivermectin that I took, and I knew it wasn't for horses. But let the internet tell you, they blacklisted any doctor that said that it would work. They destroyed people. And now we're hearing it firsthand from Dr. Turley. But I'm not sure if you know this. When things were happening around the country during the summer of love, then when people were rioting and tearing up Oregon and Seattle and Minneapolis, they were not allowing that content to be shown in the algorithm. It was striking it. But anything negative for conservatives was making its way all around. That's the BS behind it. That's why it's so upsetting when you hear this was really happening and we were gaslit the whole time.
And this is part of censorship. It creates an insatiable desire and appetite. And these companies found themselves overwhelmed. It snowballed. And so soon Meta was just censoring a huge amount of people. Elon Musk deserves a great deal of credit here. When he bought Twitter, it was interesting. Figures like Hillary Clinton went to Europe and said, use the Digital Services Act, this infamous EU legislative initiative, to censor Americans. And, you know, Musk has been out there alone in this fight. Then Meta joined and has replicated what Musk did at X. And now we have Google. And this is a huge development for the free speech community. We need these companies, particularly in fending off the EU, which is being very aggressive in this anti-free speech campaign.
Yeah, it's a great point there. Jonathan, thanks for coming on.
You know what, for me to hear this, because one of the biggest concerns, you know, being a content creator is the fact of the censorship. Like y'all always hear me say, there's certain words I'm unable to use, certain things, because it would trigger, even in my post. I would love to put up more posts with President Trump's name in it until I realized that whenever you put his name in it and it's something positive, you don't get anywhere near as many views. If you go through my channel right now, look at the videos that have fewer views and look at the topic, and you'll realize why, for whatever reason, those don't make it through. And so it's still happening to some extent. Hopefully this removes it, but we all were manipulated. We were lied to, and we knew it. And a lot of people did know it. They just said, well, I went to Google and this is what it said. And they took that as the gospel. Again, mental manipulation, social engineering. It's like Goebbels from Germany 3.0, what the Biden administration was doing. And here's the kicker. The Democrats deflect. They call Trump the fascist. When you tell me what's more fascist than censoring people that disagree with you. Trump's the fascist, but what's more fascist than ignoring Supreme Court rulings that you can't use taxpayer dollars to pay back people's student loan debt that they opted to take? Oh, and then that whole program, when they did that, you do realize the people whose student loan debts was paid back were people that were politicians working in Washington. Do you know anybody in your personal life who had a student loan debt who was randomly selected and had their debt wiped away? If you do, please put it in the comments and share it with us, because I don't. But I wanted to bring y'all this to let you know, if you felt like, well, you know what, maybe I am tripping. Maybe Trump is doing this. Maybe they did. Nope, you were right. If you felt it in your gut, what the Biden administration was doing was wretched, was fascist, was destructive, you were right. If you felt that you had put things online and you noticed that it just disappeared, or things you were looking for was hard to find, and all you were getting was all of this stuff that reinforced taking the jab, reinforced trans rights, told you that Biden was the greatest thing walking. Nobody had anything negative to say about Kamala. Now we know why. So if you've hung out with me to this point, thank you so much from the top and bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe. But most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.